Welcome to the Heart of Your Money with Joe Yokavitch, president and founder of JML Financial Group. We hope today's show can help you on the road to your financial wellness. Now, here's Joe Yokavitch and the Heart of Your Money.
I think the number one, major concern and fear among all retirees is the fear of outliving their savings, because living longer and life expectancies is just off the chair. And people really have to start to think that way going into retirement, because remember, you're going in from having a paycheck from work. Now you need money to live the lifestyle that you're accustomed to. But you know as well as I do, when do you spend most of your money? And what day of the week, Sari?
Saturday and Sunday.
You got it. So every day now becomes a Saturday. And the problem we're faced with is longevity is a risk multiplier. The longer you live, more things can happen to us. You know, healthcare, inflation, taxes. All these things come up. What do? How do you handle it? We put together a plan for people. We actually designed plans specifically just for that, because it doesn't have to be complicated. This can be really, really easy when it's done. But again, it's just not about putting money away and hoarding the money and living off the interest of the money. It's a different strategy that we have because of the longevity aspect that we all face with now today.
So if people are listening right now, we really appreciate you being here for the Heart of Your Money. And if running out of money is something that does concern you for your retirement, you can pick up the phone and request your master plan from JML Financial Group at 856-336-6599. And also you can find us at jmlfinancialgroup.com. And we talk about the fear of running out of money. Do you see this causing people to be afraid to spend it once they get into retirement?
That's exactly what happens. They're afraid. They don't have a game plan. They don't have a guaranteed play when they're going into retirement. They have a bunch of money. And remember, you can have all the assets in the world, but if you don't understand how to use those assets in terms of an income or a percentage of those dollars in an income, you don't have a plan if you think about it. And then you need to also concern yourself with long-term care. We do that for our clients because healthcare costs impact the retirement's financial planning big time. So it's a major burden if you don't have a plan of action, especially with Medicare. Healthcare represents a major burden on someone living a long, long time. The problem we were all faced with is the longer you live, it doesn't get better, it gets worse. So it comes up on you. What do? How do you handle it? Do you have a plan of action? Do you have a plan for long-term care? And we do that quite a bit because we're recognizing from the old ways of doing business. And I've been doing this for 40 years, Sari, 40 years. And I've seen hundreds and hundreds of people that I've helped retire comfortably. And believe it or not, the longevity aspect becomes a real issue because no one knows what's going to happen in the market or inflation or deflation. So what we try to do for our clients is make sure they have a plan of action.
And I've heard you use the term, Joe, the living a just-in-case retirement. What does that refer to?
You know what? When you're going to retirement, you either go all in or you do what we believe, you do a little hybrid retiring. You don't necessarily have to go in completely into retirement. You do a little something on the side. Sometimes people work part-time. Even in the profession they were in, they'll work a little bit of a side hustle, so to speak. So you want to be able to at least have that available going into retirement. And because of the technology and AI that's keeping all of us living longer, what does that mean to your money? How do you spend it correctly without running out? But more importantly, how do you spend it without leaving too much behind? You're always thinking, how much do I have to leave to my children or my grandchildren? What happens is you don't enjoy yourself in your own retirement shoes. So what happens is you hoard the money to leave it to someone else so they can do the vacations or the country club and such, and you don't get a chance to do that. There's a way for us to help you using the master plan and how we work with people that you can have both. You can have not only your income for the rest of your life where you'll never, ever outlive that money, and have a plan of action where in the event, if something would happen to you, long-term care-wise, it's going to be picked up by the vehicles that we use part of our master plan.
Do you think that people find themselves being selfish if they're not planning to pass that money down and to use it themselves?
I think they're more afraid to run out. Remember, a lot of folks have lived in certain areas in terms of time frame. You have people that are in their now 60s and have a little, edge off from their grandparents possibly on how they thought about money and what they did with their money. Matter of fact, if you don't have a guarantee account going for you, going into retirement, you need to understand you have to basically cover your basic instincts of dollars. What does it cost us to live the lifestyle that we're accustomed to? But that's the basic fundamentals of making sure you have enough money to cover those situations, at least taking care of the basics of your planning. Now, if you don't do that and you have to use your assets from time to time, you really don't have a plan because you don't know what's the market could correct on you. Now, you remember I said a lot of times it's that 5 years before and 5 years after that really becomes critical in your planning observations. When I see 40 years of seeing these things happen, how do you handle those down situations in the marketplace? So you have to go back and work another 5 or 6 or 8 years. That's not a game plan. That's not a plan. So we're able to customize everything we do for clients, and it's really not that complicated. It's just basically sitting down with you to determine how much the basic dollars that you need to cover your lifestyle, and that's what we do every day.
And those are the paychecks that you talk about in comparison to the play checks, right? And the play checks are more the things that you just enjoy doing that there's extra for.
Absolutely. I mean, we do that purposely for going in the guarantee. We want to cover mortgages, groceries, insurance, transportation. We want to cover utilities, monthly bills. Those situations, your income you can depend on no matter what happens that's coming in. The other thing is when you're talking about play checks, after Social Security and pension, you need to have a lifetime income annuity to offset all these things. But at the end of the day, what do we do with the rest of the money? And that's what we talk to people about. You know what? The biggest concern I see in my practice of 40 years, you're going to believe this or not, but I was in a study group. And the gentleman that was conducting the study group, there's about 20 of us in the room, and he asked a couple of different questions, and he wanted everyone to give their approach to retirement and what they would do, and we wrote it down. And believe it or not, he got 20 different answers.
I'm not surprised by that.
It was really wild. And believe it or not, I was one of the top 2 right answers that was brought up to explain to everyone. And basically was the number one situation was living longer increases every other retirement risk. It increases your inflation risk because inflation has been, let's face it, it's been hovering, quite high besides the fuel prices. But more importantly, I just bought butter the other day. I don't know if you know or not. It cost me $13.99. I went to look at filet mignon, $35.99. I said, I'm not going to buy this.
We're eating chicken tonight.
It was coffee, for instance. You can range from, $12.99 to $20, $19.99. So again, everything is going up in price. You have market concerns. You have volatility. Think about it. You're going into retirement, you're 5 years away, and you happen to have an adjustment of 30%. How long do you think it would take you to make back up that 30%? It could take you years for that dollars to go back up from what you originally had at that point. So again, you have market situations where you're volatile and being very careful, everyone out there, because if you don't have a game plan going in, you don't have a plan. You also have withdrawal risk. Where do you withdraw the dollars from? And then you have healthcare issues that are always coming up. They're talking about what it's going to cost us in retirement for health care. Again, these are issues that we're all faced with, and you need to look in terms of the planner you're working with and making sure they address all these situations because it's essentially important going into retirement. So if you subtract what you make, Social Security and pensions, if you do get a pension, lucky enough, you must fill that gap in. That gap is a situation where you have to have guaranteed type of lifetime, and I say lifetime income because my pet peeve is three things and it should never happen to us. Number one, never running out of money. Pay the least amount to the IRS. We all have to pay taxes, no question, but pay the least amount and not be a burden on our family. The rest of the money, if we have a good income plan, Sari, I'm talking a good, solid, knowing every month we're going to get a check, we use the remaining portfolio to fight inflation. How do we do that? With stocks, bonds, real estate, commodities, crypto. These are things that will continue to go up and down. And when the market goes up, I just did this just recently. Matter of fact, I told him I wasn't going to use his last name, and I'm not going to. Billy called me. He says, Joe, I need to get $10,000 out of my portfolio. And now, luckily for Billy, I've known him for many years. And I said to him, do you want it net? Gross, tell me what you want to pay the taxes out. You take the tax out, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Billy's account has been moving up quite nicely. If it was down of that portion of the money, I would have said, Billy, we need to wait a little longer. I didn't have to. So I took the profits that we made over the last 6-9 months, and I'm going to be giving him a check coming up here. Again, another strategy because he has guaranteed income. He has a pension, he has some Social Security, and I have a guaranteed income plan working for him. So he does not worry about running out of money. He's not worrying about taxes. He's not worrying. He's living the lifestyle that he's accustomed to it. Everybody has that lifestyle and such. But you understand, I want to reduce market, stress in people's life. So if we do not create a dependable income strategy, we don't have a strategy. You know that, don't you?
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Integrity Alliance LLC, member SIPC. Integrity Wealth is a marketing name for Integrity Alliance LLC and is not affiliated with Integrity Wealth. Joe Yokavitch is an investment advisor representative and registered representative with Integrity Alliance LLC, a registered investment advisor and member SIPC. Integrity Wealth is a marketing name for Integrity Alliance LLC. Integrity Wealth is not an affiliated company. Opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect those of Integrity Wealth. The topics discussed and opinions given are not intended to address the specific needs of any listener. JML Financial Group does not offer legal or tax advice. Listeners are encouraged to discuss their financial needs with the appropriate professional regarding your individual circumstance. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Diversification does not guarantee a profit or protect against a loss in a declining market. It is a method used to help manage investment risk. Fixed annuities are long-term insurance contracts, and there is a surrender charge imposed generally during the first 5 to 7 years that you own the annuity contract. Indexed annuities are insurance contracts that, depending on the contract, may offer a guaranteed annual interest rate and some participation, if any, of a stock market index. Such contracts have substantial variation in terms, costs of guarantees, and features, and may cap participation or returns in significant ways. Investors are cautioned to carefully review an indexed annuity for its features, costs, risks, and how the variables are calculated. Any guarantees offered are backed by the financial strength of the insurance company. Surrender charges apply if not held to the end of the term. Withdrawals are taxed as ordinary income, and if taken prior to 59.5, a 10% federal tax penalty. Converting an employer plan account or traditional IRA to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences, including but not limited to a need for additional tax withholding or estimated tax payments, the loss of certain tax deductions and credits, and higher taxes on Social Security benefits and higher Medicare premiums. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. Rebalancing, reallocating can entail transaction costs and tax consequences that should be considered when determining a rebalancing reallocation strategy.